Continuing political coverage now, how are the candidates gearing up for the big showdown? Marco Rubio's campaign manager saying, quote, "We expect some of them will attack each other in hopes of turning around their faltering campaigns. Marco doesn't need to do that. He isn't coming to the Reagan Library to attack other Republicans." Rand Paul's campaign circulating this picture of their man at Target, shopping for pre-debate supplies. Then from Target to Target practice, shooting at the tax code. Time to bring in Julie Roginski, Fox News contributor and former political advisor to New Jersey Senator Frank Lautenberg. And also Chris Plante, syndicated radio talk show host. Now, we gave both of you a bit of an assignment today, pre-debate, to give your 2 or 3 words of advice to each candidate. So, Julie, I'm going to start with you, and let's go through your first 3. So for Jeb Bush, you say, look alive.
Literally and figuratively. He's got to look alive and not feed into this thing that Donald Trump has put out about him, that he's low energy. He did appear a little low energy the last debate. And he's also got to look alive to his donors, who are starting to increasingly worry about what's going on with him.
All right, so 2 look-alives. Ted Cruz, you say he needs to stand out, and Ben Carson look like the adult alternative to Trump.
Absolutely. So Ted Cruz needs to stand out because Ted Cruz is losing some ground to Carson and to Trump. And so he obviously was the darling of the evangelicals. Some of that is being pulled away from him by Mike Huckabee. So he needs to re-engage that. And Ben Carson is coming out as the alternative, the adult alternative to Donald Trump. I think he's been playing it very well. He's absolutely rising in the polls because people may not think that Trump is either serious or to their taste, and he looks like the adult in the room.
Okay, Chris, let's go to your 3. By the way, you randomly got these candidates. So Marco Rubio looks like he's running for VP at this point. Huckabee, is he still running? And Kasich, speak to his resume and his record. Chris.
Yeah, well, I think that's right. You know, Marco Rubio, who was, the golden boy for a lot of people until quite recently, honestly, has kind of faded into the woodwork. And he's a good guy. He's young. He doesn't have a thick resume. He'd be a great running mate, I think, for the eventual nominee. But right now, he's going to have to make something magic happen if he wants to become the front runner.
All right. And Huckabee, you're wondering if he's still running. And Kasich, speak to his resume.
Yeah, Mike Huckabee, I mean, he's been kind of doing what Mike Huckabee does in his free time. I mean, I think there might be a clerk's job available in Kentucky, a county clerk job. But, if he's really running for president, he's going to have to try something new.
Okay, let's go back to Julie now. You had Rand Paul re-engage the libertarian base, and Chris Christie Hail Mary pass, a football analogy.
Yes, today, on this day of Tom Brady doing his all-important presidential endorsement, yes, he really does need to do, Chris Christie really does need to do a Hail Mary pass. He is sinking fast in New Hampshire, which is his firewall. He claims he's going to go nuclear, I think was the quote that he said to Jimmy Fallon tonight, if he doesn't get the attention he feels he deserves. He really needs to, because if he doesn't do something to stand out, he will continue to sink. He'll be an afterthought, which is a stunning, stunning fall for a guy who people thought was going to be the nominee.
Okay, let's go back over to Chris. Scott Walker, save himself from extinction. Carly Fiorina, stay adult and be herself. She's great when she's herself.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, again, Scott Walker is another guy who was sort of the hero of the conservative movement just a matter of months ago, taking on the unions, winning 3 elections in 4 years, winning against the National Democratic Organization that sought to destroy him. And he was, a golden child, and now he's sort of melded into the field, and he's not standing out at all. He's going to have to step it up. I'm not sure if he's quite in Hail Mary land, as Julie said of another one of them, but he's really got to get into the game here, or he risks going away, I think.
All right, now for the front runner, we allowed you to both give advice for Donald Trump. Julie, you say maintain, and Chris say be himself. All right. Now that, to me, those are pretty subdued ways to describe Donald Trump. So, Julie, you go first.
Well, he needs to listen. He's got a good thing going. Everything he says just increases his support. He just needs to maintain it. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's obviously working. And I think it's basically the same thing. I don't want to speak for Chris, but continue to beat Donald Trump. And it seems like people really respond to that.
Is she right? Chris?
Honestly, I agree with Julie. I think she's absolutely right. I mean, whatever Donald Trump is doing is, for whatever reason, working. And whatever the commentary is on our political system and where we are socially and politically in America, Donald Trump is topping the polls. He's dominating the news coverage in just by ridiculous numbers. And whatever he's doing is working for him. So, you know, it'd be nice if he got into some specifics, but it doesn't seem to have, you know, hurt him thus far. So I guess he can hold off on specifics for a while, too.
We'll see if he's asked about the Iranian and the Iraqi forces tonight with specifics. We'll see how that goes. All right, Julie and Chris, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Gretchen.
Time now for my take. 5 GOP candidates mentioned President Ronald Reagan during the first Republican debate last month. And with the debate tonight at the Ronald Reagan Library, the contenders will no doubt honor him a lot. Reagan continues to get better with age and time and remains the most revered former president to many. But it's interesting to note amongst the voting public now, many were not even born when Reagan was in office. So do those people have the same opinions of Reagan in their minds as folks over 50? Maybe. A lot of it could depend on how our schools have depicted Ronald Reagan in the history books. In my mind, he was the president who had the guts to stand up to the Cold War and told President Gorbachev to tear down this wall. Could be risky to try and equate yourself to such a powerful political force tonight. Best advice for each candidate may be to just be themselves, as we just heard. And you can always get my take on my Facebook page and at foxnews.com. So now we have another officer down in Arizona. We're going to have the latest on the manhunt after this shooting and take a look at the recent string of violence. What is happening in our country towards police? Plus the second Republican debate tonight with more potential for make it or break it moments. So here's your question of the day. Who's going to win tonight's debate? How are they going to win? Tweet me at Gretchen Carlson. Use the hashtag #TheRealStory. We're going to read your comments coming up at the end of the show.